takes over. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Fitness in Business podcast. Johnny Salmon here, and today I'm joined by a guest, Eric Machado. How are you?
Good, buddy. Good, thank you.
Very good, very good. Thanks so much for jumping on the show. Eric and I actually originally spoke about doing a podcast maybe about a year ago, and business, life, here we are. So I really appreciate you giving up the time today to have a chat, mate.
No problem, buddy.
So today, I really want to understand, for anyone that doesn't know, just before I start asking punching questions your way, can you give us a little bit of background on a bit about what you do, just like your 2 to 3 minute elevator pitch on like what you do day to day and what makes up Eric's life?
So I originally came here 18 years ago from Canada, and not knowing anyone, not having any money. My missus wanted to finish her last year of university here, and one thing led to another, and 18 years later, we stayed. So basically, day to day now, I've invested in multiple businesses over the years, and in real estate, we currently have multiple, e-com businesses ranging from 9-figure business and 10-figure businesses in different industries, ranging from motocross to mixed martial arts and ATV in those kind of domains and industries and categories. And we do a lot of property investment. So we buy a lot of real estate, we build, we develop, we land bank, and we also have Unemployable, which we started about 14 months ago, which is also a podcast around business and investment. And awesome. Yeah, it's great. Yeah. And then we have kind of a high-end business coaching program off the back of that.
That's great, mate. Thanks for sharing the background. That's great. And so what anyone listening and what I hear is you got a lot on your plate. You're a busy dude.
Yeah, plenty.
You open your Google Calendar or whatever calendar you run, and there's probably not many gaps. It's probably a big square full of colors, right? So yes. What a lot of the listeners from Fitness in Business want is to understand how people who are busy, who are making big moves, how they continually look after their body and mind, like how they genuinely show up every day, because there's people that do it for a week. There's people that do it for a month. And you've got a family, you've got businesses, and you're still managing to go on holidays, enjoy yourself. I'm sure there's days that are stressful. Yeah. Let's talk about some really practical things to do with, let's just start with moving your body. Like, what do you do from a weekly basis to just keep moving the body?
Well, to be honest, I need to be doing more and how to be more accountable. So what I do is usually 3 to 4 days a week, I'm at the gym and doing weights. So more static and kind of compound exercises. But to be honest with you, I need to move my body more, right? And I've realized this. Funny enough, we went away for the weekend up to Brisbane, and fit, I'm healthy, but I'm 41, right? But in my mind, I'm 20. So I forgot my running shoes, and I had these, kind of new, kind of running casual style shoes. And we go to the gym. I'm on the treadie, just a 10-minute brisk walk to start off the session. My missus is there, and I got a bit of a cough, so you have to bear with me. And everything's fine. Train for an hour. Next thing you know, we're at the pool. We're hanging out all day. 5 o'clock rolls around. The back of my heel starts to hurt, and starts to hurt quite bad. So go to sleep. I'm kind of like, maybe it's just something. Wake up in the morning. I can't even walk on it. Like, it's literally, I can't even put weight on it. And it's been like that for 3 days now. So I went to the doctor's today, and I got an ultrasound booked in this week. Now, moral of the story though is something's happened to my Achilles tendon, right? Like it's inflamed, something's happened. All from walking, right, on a treadmill with the wrong shoes. So talking about like taking care of your body, I feel invincible, right? Because in my mind, I still feel 20. Age can creep up, right? And just because you're going to the gym and lifting weights, right, doesn't mean that you're doing enough. And And what I need to be doing more of is running, walking, these types of exercises, not just sitting there and, throwing some weights around and thinking that's enough. And that's what I've come to realize. A lot of people, I feel there's so much noise out there, right? There's so many people with their morning routines and their hacks. And then you sit there comparing people that wake up at 4 a.m. and do a cold plunge and then go to the beach and go for a swim. And then they meditate on the beach and they come back and read a book for half an hour. All these different types of things. I've never been like that, to be honest. I've never had a proper routine that I sit in, every day or every week. We live our life quite spontaneous, and I like change, right? What allows me to do what I do is I collaborate in anything I do. So in any of the businesses, excuse me, that I have, we've got partners. We've got partners in everything that I do. And I've been like that for a long time.
Yeah. Yep.
It gives us flexibility. We can 100%. Cover each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
big time.
When you go away for, a 5-week holiday or be spontaneous and go, okay, let's go spend, 4 days in Brisbane or Sydney or wherever that is, others got things covered and vice versa. And for me, that's a non-negotiable. I don't like doing things just on my own. To me, 1 + 1 is 11 with the right people around. Now, when it comes to mind and when it comes to body, so I don't drink alcohol.
Awesome.
So I don't drink alcohol. I haven't drank a drip of alcohol in probably 20 years.
Talk me through that. Was there a day where you went, no?
Yeah, it just, back in the day, it was, like you're going out, you're partying, you're dabbling in this and you're dabbling in that. And then there's a point in time where it actually didn't make me feel good. I'm a guy that likes to be in control. And it always made me feel out of control. And there was a day where I was like, I actually don't need to do any of this. And stopped everything. And from that day on, I don't drink, no drugs, like no recreational, weed and all this, a lot of people do it. They go out and have a bend. None of that. I don't even drink coffee, right? Because again, coffee, it makes me more in like an anxious state. And it doesn't do anything for me. And I think a lot of people use these types of things as outlets.
Yeah.
And for me, just that and the clarity that I have, like even when I go and I get my bloods done regularly, and when I get my bloods done, and even the lady that takes the bloods, and she's always like your blood is so clear compared to a lot of people. There's no, and she showed me another vial and it was like foggy. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
My vice though is food. I've grown up in a tight knit European family, Portuguese background, and food is a massive thing in our household. And I've got a sweet tooth, and that's probably my vice. Sorry, I just noticed that my face is being cut off a little bit. And yeah, so food is our vice, and my wife. So that's one thing that probably if anything gets out of control a little bit, it's probably food. Now, when I say food is, I'm kind of like, sometimes, you live once, enjoy yourself kind of, but then I know at times as you age, I'm definitely, my metabolism is nowhere near as quick as it was when I was 30, as an example. Right.
For sure.
And that's something that we really, really got to look at. Like, I don't know what your thoughts are in regards to, the food versus alcohol versus caffeine, but that's an interesting topic,
Yeah, mate, it is an interesting topic. And I think, like, for me personally, like, there was a year and a half where I didn't have any coffee. It was making me feel anxious. It was exactly what you talked about. It was like, I'm a pretty energetic guy. I keep myself fit, healthy. I walk a lot. I train a lot. I lift weights. I eat well. Like, just simple metrics. And so when I added coffee, it was really intense for a while there. And so I just removed it for a while. I got back to what I just call a baseline. Like, and what you described before, I explain it to clients and stuff like this. Like, you have your baseline of energy, and you want to be really consistent person with your decision making, with your moods, with your emotions, with your family, with your businesses. If alcohol and drugs and all this stuff make you up here, and for some people it's gambling, it's strippers, it's whatever their thing is, right? And then they crash and they come really far down here. And then they go all the way back up when they make a heap of money, and then they come all the way down when they lose a business. And I just call it playing near the line, where you're just trying to get things back to, there's fluctuation, but for the most part, I can remain pretty consistent. So if there's substances, so you can be consistent. If there's substances and decisions and the way you're living your lifestyle, that's like, woo.
Correct.
I just don't think that has longevity.
I agree.
And if you're in a business, you need longevity.
You do,
right?
I agree, and that's the thing. Like we all have vices, right? But it's being aware that is the key, right? Being aware on what's working and being aware on what's actually holding you back, right? What's working, what's working against you. And what happens is life's busy, right? Like I got a family, got a couple kids. There's soccer, there's gymnastics, there's work, there's wife, family. Everybody needs a little bit of attention. But for me, I have a lot of non-negotiables. Like, I go to my kids' soccer games and practices. It's non-negotiable because that's the way I was raised, and my dad was always there, dropping us off and watching us. And it's a lot of it is, I think too, is how you're raised, And I was raised in a European Portuguese household. My dad never went to the gym. My mom never went to the gym. There was no such thing as macros. It was, like you ate fairly healthy, right? There was lots of breads and desserts and different things. So you're not really educated in that way. And then when you come to Australia from Canada, where it's, 6 months of the year, everyone's hibernating, and you come here to this beautiful country and it's, sunshine all the time and everyone's in, bikinis and Speedos and, everyone's fit. I felt like shit. Everyone's fit here, like proper. And that's where obviously you get influenced and you get inspired. Like, holy shit, I really, want to kind of join this and start looking good and start looking better. But again, it's the discipline, it's the consistency in just like in business, right? Your fitness is the exact same thing. And I haven't been as consistent as I need to be, right? On the fitness side, 110%. I need to be more accountable. I need to actually, again, like I said, move my body more, because I look at, people that are 20 years older and they're starting to seize up because they're not moving their body.
Yeah.
Right? And for me, that's a non-negotiable moving forward. But again, it's the vice of, I remember in 2019, before COVID, I hired a guy, and my missus and I, and he put us on a program, right? And again, zero cardio, zero moving your body. This guy was like, man, you just do these exercises, you do the deadlifts, you do the squats, and follow macros, which we did for 5 days a week, because we're very social people. We're always out to dinner. We love it. We love going out to dinner. We love socializing with friends. So I'm like, okay, let's commit to 5 days a week, which we did. I did that for 6 months pretty consistently. I was in the best shape of my life. I'm talking like first time I had a 6-pack, but I was thin. Like I was like a bit gaunty, I was lean, man. So lean. I'll never forget it. Looking back at photos when we went to Bali and stuff, I'm like, wow, And then COVID came, right? And then everything got shut down, and the excuse was, well, we can't go to the gym, we can't do this, and do over COVID, and was eat and do this and go out. Well, not go out, but just hang out, and not able to do much.
Yeah.
And you tell yourself stories. But ever since then, I've always still hit the gym, but I never tracked macros since then properly.
Yeah.
Like what are your thoughts on, because everyone's got these diets. They got keto diets, they got fasting, they got I did macros properly 5 days a week, not 7 days a week. And I'm telling you, within 6 months, it was like, because every week or two, you'd have to go in, measure, weigh. You could take the calipers, you'd measure your body fat in certain areas. And man, it was unbelievable. So what are your thoughts on that?
Mate, on talking about tracking macros, I think it is I'll prephrase it with this. There was a time, even as a trainer, as a younger trainer that was less experienced, that I thought people just need to exercise and eat healthy and they'll get a result.
Yeah.
And if you're talking about getting a bit stronger, feeling a bit better, and notice I'm putting the word a bit on the end of everything, a bit stronger, a bit better, a bit less tired, you're making small improvements, I think that's completely fine. If you have a specific goal and a specific outcome and you want to like get in the best shape ever, you want to get extremely lean, you want to get absolutely jacked. If you're a woman, you want to lose the body fat you don't need and actually look and feel really great. Like the kind of fitness, male or female, that when you walk into a room, people, they can't help but notice that you're in shape and that you look after yourself. Not in a vanity way, just like they train. It's clear. You need to track your macros. And you need to understand where you're at. And I think it's a process that can be overcomplicated in the fitness industry. However, like at the moment, I don't really need to track macros. I can eyeball food because I've did it for a specific time and I learned that much chicken is about that much protein. That much chicken is about that much protein. And so you can eyeball food all day without being in MyFitnessPal all day when you're trying to cook dinner with Jen.
Yes.
But you have to do it. Like I bet even after you tracked for a while, when you stop tracking, you still ate around about the same foods and it slowly tapers off, right?
Yeah.
So I think for a lot of people, it's just about doing it for a period of time, learning how to eyeball it, and then knowing if I eat this, I'll be in this shape. So if I keep eating this and keep training and walking, then I'll probably stay in that shape.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I agree with you with it, being overcomplicated. It's true. Like for someone that, is more dominant in the business space, not so much in the fitness space and hasn't had to, it is quite daunting for a lot of people, right? Go, okay, I got to weigh my food and I got to do this. And, it's prep, right? It's literally, there's a lot of preparation, right? And just like business and anything else, like you need to be, preparing all the time. But what happens is, I guess with us, the way we've been raised is like food is love, and that's the way we've been raised. So that's probably one of the hardest things for us is just to stay consistent on going, okay, this is what you need to be eating this here and have no, vice around chocolate or ice cream or, snacking.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, when I was tracking macros, I told the guy straight away, I was like, hey, just so you know, I got a sweet tooth. And he's like, yeah, no problem. So we'll add in a bit of, light and creamy Peter's ice cream in there and some dark chocolate. And that was enough, to be honest. Like after a while, once your taste buds change and, you go through that little bit of a, withdrawal for the first week of not having your usual little snacks here and there. Yeah. It was fine. Like I looked forward to that little bowl of ice cream, because for me, it needs to be sustainable. Anything in life that you do needs to be sustainable. Like you could go and do it for 6 months, 12 months and not eat anything and be strict. You ain't going to do it for 5 years.
Exactly.
10 years. Only the extremists will do something like that, which there aren't many. So you got to be within reason. And it's the same thing in business, right? When you first start your business, you're doing everything. You're working 70, 80, 90, 100-hour weeks, day in, day out. You're up. That's all you're doing. It's not sustainable.
Yes, right? For sure.
You hire people. You got to be doing other things. You got to delegate. And that's what happens is eventually you get better and better. Right?
Yes.
You have to give and take in life.
100%. Mate, that's a good point that you just said about if you look at the scale of, say, a business, and you've grown many more businesses much larger than I have, but I've been through a couple of experiences, right? So I can understand what you're talking about, where you're working massive hours and they slowly get less as your team gets bigger. So it's like this cross thing. Correct. And so all the work becomes more efficient or whatever it is, or you outsource stuff. But with fitness and with macros and specifically with nutrition, I see a lot of people do this where, so for example, if I'm was 100 kilos and I was eating 3,000 calories a day, and I'm like, I want to drop 20 kilos. They just like halve their food, and they get really hungry, and it works for a little bit. They drop some weight, but then this thing stops working as well because they're not getting as much fuel.
Yep.
Their moods get terrible. They can't train. They lose their strength, and everything starts to diminish. Much like if you continue to work 100 hours a week,
Correct.
Everything would start to diminish, and it wouldn't actually get better. So similarly, like and I'm specifically talking about weight loss, you have to understand what your macros are so you can slowly step them down, just like you slowly outsource things in a business. I just wanted to draw that reference because it's super relevant.
I guess it's amazing because like you look at, certain people, and that's all they're teaching people is just making sure that you're taking less calories in. I mean, burning more calories than you're taking it. Like, it's not rocket science.
No.
But the issue with people is they don't know how to track it because they're so busy with work. They make excuses and they're not prepared. Like,
for sure.
The reality is on Sundays, you need to be spending a part of your Sunday literally preparing for the rest of the week and having your meals prepared, or making sure that you're ordering the prepared meals, that based on your macros, and not forgetting, because one thing that I realize is you can't let yourself go hungry. I'm just going to switch this around.
Yeah, go for it.
I've got a window here that I think is affecting. That's better. Is not letting yourself go hungry.
Yes.
Right.
100%.
And when we were on, doing the macros, it was like, you've got food, every 2 to 3 hours you're eating.
Yes.
So you're fulfilling yourself. Whereas once you go hungry, right, all the logic goes away, and all the emotion, and it's all emotion. It's like, I'm hungry. I don't care. I'm going to eat this.
Yes.
Right. And you get that fix. And that's the thing for me is like,
it's never the great choice either.
It's never a great choice.
No.
So it's being accountable to yourself and knowing that there's a period of time where I'm out and about and I don't have access to the food I should be eating. I'm just going to go and make a bad decision usually or a decision, sometimes a bad decision, but sometimes a decision that you think is mediocre compared to what you really should be eating is quite bad. And all of a sudden you're out.
100%.
So, it's like the same thing with, we tried the ketosis diet before. That's very difficult to sustain, because as soon as you're out of ketosis, you're out. You're either in or you're out. You're not just kind of ketosis, right? So I think you got to
be half pregnant.
Yeah, that's right. I think you got to pick your battles, especially if you're running business, trying to be fit, trying to be a good father, trying to be a good husband, trying to be a good business partner, trying to be, look like a Greek god. Like, that's a lot of pressure, right? So to me, it's like, I live a little bit by, 80-20.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you be good 80% of the time,
100%.
20% of the time, you're not so good.
Man, totally.
You're going to be 100%, right? Like in your business, like, who's ever 100%? You can't.
No one. No.
If you're 100, right? 5 days, 6 days in a row. Well, guess what? The 7th day, you're 20, which just brings you back into balance anyways.
Exactly.
So that's kind of how I live by. And I don't know how you are, but people are just so hard on themselves, right? We got access to so much information. We've got access to social media. We've got access to Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, you name it, right? Most people have it. And you're just seeing beautiful people driving beautiful cars, going to beautiful homes, eating beautiful food, right? And we just think this is normal, right? And we're training our mind that way. And then all of a sudden it's like, wow, you look like shit. Wow, that person's 20 years younger than you and has got a lot more money than you. Wow, look at you going into your shitty little car when that person I just seen is driving a Ferrari. And it's going to get worse and worse with AI, right? Now, half of the videos and stuff they're not even real. So it's going to be
wild, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to make it harder and harder on people.
Yeah. And look, I think that's a really good point with, it's something that I think, I'm not going to make up a percentage, but there's a chunk of people that I start coaching and they have that thing in their brain where they're like, I'd like to look, because I'll sometimes get people to help them create a vision. I'm like, let's find some photos of a physique that you're happy with. And that's either an old photo of you, like yourself when you were a bit younger and you were ripped, or it's a photo of a few other people. I tend to not get them to pick one because they can get focused on like becoming them. And it's like, no, you have a specific body. Yeah. So find a few so I can understand your composition that you want and understand, you know, how you want to look, what workouts I need to give you to develop what muscles. But what I'm getting at is it's really important for people to understand what their own goals are, like how they want to look, how they want to feel, because man, you can scroll and doom scroll Instagram all day and find thousands of people that look better than you. We all can. And so if you're attaching to that and trying to become that, it's not going to happen.
Yes, I agree.
You know, because they're on gear and they're on fat strippers and they're on, you know, like.
And that's the thing, right? Like when you see, like I see some of these guys, right? And you're like, you know, I know they're on the gear. And then I'm like, I've got friends on the gear, right? And I'm like, what is that going to do to them long term? Like it's such
horrendous.
Right? Such a short term thinking, right? Yeah,
yes.
It's like it's vanity, right? And then there's going to be a point in time where all of a sudden this starts breaking down or that starts breaking down. And to be honest with you, like, because I don't do anything, like it kind of worries me, you know. Like I've got friends that are on, you know, TRT, you know, testosterone replacement therapy, and they're young, right? Younger than me, but it's tempting because it's like, man, you look good, you feel good, you know, the energy and the rest of it. But then I think to myself, like, what can that actually be doing, you know?
Yeah.
And it's a slippery slope, right? But let me tell you, it definitely gets tempting at time, because I think as well as everybody, whether you're looking at fitness, whether you're looking at business, relationships, we're all looking for a hack. We're all looking for
the next
thing. How can I get that body? How can I get that business? How can I make that money in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of work? Everyone's doing it. That's why the fitness industry is one of the biggest industries in the world, right? When it comes to selling, again, programs or selling supplements or selling the dream, right? And it's one of those things where people have to be very, very careful, you know?
I totally agree.
Surround themselves.
Totally agree. And mate, that's essentially why I have changed my business, and not the only reason, but one of the reasons I coach in the way that I do, because it starts not with, you know, what I want to do to get the client's outcome, to post a photo on my Instagram to then get the next client, to convince the next person, to convince the next, you know, it's like, how can I help you be not just look and feel good, but show up better in your business or career?
Yeah.
Through the discipline, through the consistency, and through like those main levers, which make you have to, like, you will not achieve what you want to achieve unless you train, walk, eat well, drink water, sleep. Like they're the main 5 things, really, if we're honest. Yeah. And but the hardest thing is for people to do them consistently, day in, week in, month in.
You just mentioned it. Like sleep's a big thing for me. You know, like during the week, I'm in bed probably, you know, 9:30.
Yeah, that's great.
And awake 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Yeah, wow, that's awesome.
Other than when my, you know, kids jump in bed, sometimes, you know, I get an average sleep. But other than that, I'm, you know, my head hits the pillow. I think a little bit, but then I'm good. You know, I feel like my sleep pattern's quite well. I have friends, they don't sleep, man. Like literally they're 2 to 3 hours. You know, they're up at 3 a.m, bed at midnight, working. I'm just like, like if I don't get my sleep, you know, I'm
what
not,
happens? Talk us through what happens if you don't get it.
Yeah, I'm not a good human. I'm short. Yeah, my patience goes through the roof. I'm tired. Just not happy. You know.
Yeah. And decision making.
Yeah, decision making goes out the door. Like for me, I've been, you know, knock on wood, I made some very good decisions in my life, but I'm a very good judge of character at the same time. And you need a clear mind for that. So a big thing that we, learn about, and a lot of people talk about, is, learning to control your emotions, that emotional intelligence.
Yes.
When you get that text message, or you get that email, or you get that phone call, and it's like, you just want to reply back straight away and just go nuts because logic goes out the door and the emotion kicks in.
Yes.
Teaching yourself not to reply. Right. It's teaching yourself to have a think about the scenario, the situation first, to then think about, okay, 2 days later, you're going to reply totally different, or 24 hours later, you'll reply totally different than if you were to reply right there and then.
Yes.
And that's very, very important. And if you're not sleeping well, or if you're, like you said, the equilibrium's here, and you're going up and down and up and down and up and down, when you're up, you're going to be making stupid decisions because you think everything's just you got your rose-colored glasses on. And when you're down here, you ain't making any decisions because you're just down and out.
You're a mess. Yeah.
You're in that depressive state. So you're going to be making extremely bad decisions based on emotion again. So it's just those things where it's like that up and down, up and down, up and down. Got to be very careful not to get into that.
100%.
But again, it creates discipline, right? It creates discipline. So, and for me, that's in life. Discipline is one of the number one things.
Yes.
You're an athlete. Discipline is showing up to every practice, showing up early to every practice, showing up early to every game, right? In fitness, it's going to the gym. It's being disciplined in what you eat. All those
totally
things, right? And in business, it's the same thing. It's being disciplined, paying your people, paying suppliers, paying your team members, making sure that you're providing the service and fulfilling that need.
100%.
No different. There's so much similarities between relationships, business, and fitness.
Yeah, that's a great point. I completely agree. Mate, interestingly, circling back, we were talking before about the logical brain and the emotional brain with like snacking.
Yep.
Which one do you find harder? Not replying to that text or email in the emotional state, or not eating the insert vice, Mars bar, Coke, whatever it is here? Like which one do you find more difficult?
Probably the food. And I think the food for me, I've learned.
I'm asking this because it's a big problem. That's the answer I thought you'd say. It's a big problem.
Yeah. The food is a big, and it depends where you are, right? It depends where you are in how you work. And what I mean by that is, if you're in an office and you don't have access to certain foods, different. But if you're working from home for the day and you have access to a full fridge and a full pantry full of stuff, right? Especially when you have kids, right? And you buy certain things for the kids and the rest of it, it's different again, right?
Yes.
So for me, it's really, it's that, again, we look at food as love, right?
Yes. So you're nurturing yourself.
Correct. But when you've been grown up in a tight-knit European family where food is love, and it's like, eat, honey, eat, please, eat. Like it's, you could never leave my grandma's house without eating. Even if you just had dinner, she would not let you leave without eating something. And it's like the old school Portuguese culture is like, you need to be overweight a little bit to be healthy. It's crazy.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it's so crazy. So when you've been raised that way, right? Food is love, and it kind of fills a void.
Yes.
So for me, that one is definitely a lot harder.
Yeah.
Then I've had to train myself though with the emotional intelligence on the business side, because I used to be the one that would just reply straight away and be like, "Man, you go get F. This is not right." But then you start composing yourself. It's like with your missus. If you're in an argument, what do they say? Just walk away, try and walk away, and not go back and forth, right? And it's taken us a long time to do that because
you got to put in the reps.
Yeah, everyone wants to have the last word.
Yeah,
and I'm dealing with it with my kids now, right? And just going, pick your battles. But again, like you said, you got to put in the time and do it over and over and over again. And That's the hardest part, because the croc brain kicks in, you know,
Yes.
and it's the fight or flight, and it's that illogical emotional state that comes in that takes over.
Mm.
And it's to be honest, I think it's an ongoing battle. There's never a time where it's like,
Yeah.
I'm cured from this or whatever issue that you're dealing with. It's an ongoing battle. Like I've seen, you know, documentaries and stuff on, you know, people that have addictions, right?
Yes.
Heroin addiction, as an example. And they say they will always be addicted.
Yeah.
You don't just stop being addicted. You
Yes.
will always be addicted, but you learn to control.
Yep.
And that is the hardest part, right?
Yes.
Is having that power and that willpower to sit there and go, actually, you know what? I'm not going to have that chocolate brownie when everyone else is eating it, because I have a goal or I have a purpose to. And I think with us in business and in relationships and in fitness, we all need goals. Like right now in my fitness journey, I don't even have a goal. I'm going to the gym 3-4 days a week, but I'm not weighing myself. I'm not measuring myself. I'm not measuring how much weight I'm pushing from one month to the next. I'm just going.
Yeah.
Which is not the right thing to do, right? You need to sit down and go, hey, I need to be accountable. I need to sit down. I need to write a program and go, okay, I'm at, 90 kilos. I want to get to 82 kilos. And to get there, I want to get there in this amount of time. But what are you going to do to get there in the meantime, right? How much training do you need to do? How much walking do you need to do? How much running do you need to do? What food do you need to be eating? And that's the planning side of things.
Totally. And man, I was meant to circle back to this before, but two very active brains, we went off on a different tangent. But on the note of MyFitnessPal and like tracking and doing that, and this ties into with what you're just saying. Like for me, and this is just some practical advice for anyone listening who's like, well, John and Eric, they've been talking about you've got to track your macros. Well, how do I do that? Because I mentioned before, you don't want to be in the kitchen with the kids and Jan, and you're like, hang on, I can't talk at the moment. I've got to plug in 16 things into MyFitnessPal. Can you shush while I weigh all my food? Like that wears thin very quickly, right?
Yeah.
And so what I often, this is just some straight between the eyes advice for anyone listening, use MyFitnessPal when you have your macros as a menu. So what I do is on Friday afternoon or Saturday afternoon or something, I'm generally tech free on Sundays, but sometime before Monday at 4:30 a.m. starts, when my week starts, I have filled out this from Monday to Friday. So my phone becomes like a cafe menu that's already got the selections in it of what I've eaten. I've decided in the logical brain what I'm eating. And I open this up and I go, brekkie, in my smoothie, drink, lunch. What's having for lunch?
You're pre-planning the week before for the week coming.
Yes. And the relative example is, I guarantee, like, if you're listening to this, you're probably working hard. You're probably trying to stay fit and healthy. You're trying to get this thing working better than it is. Your calendar's probably dialed. Your systems and structures in your work, how you run your cars, how you run your business, how you run your family, the kids' timetables on the fridge with highlighters and who's got to drop off when. But you don't have the systems and structure or the mental capacity to bring that across into your health and fitness. And you need to. Yeah. And so, and anyway, that wasn't meant to sound too harsh for you, but
no. That's true, right? Like it's just the accountability part.
Yeah. Just like setting it up well, and then you can stop thinking about it too much.
Yeah. That's the, but the thing is, again, it's without, like, you can't, well, I shouldn't say you can't, but like, if you're feeling good and you're energetic and you're looking good, right, it's going to make you want to do better things in life. That's just the reality, right?
Yes.
And when you look in the mirror and you look at yourself and you go, you know what, I need to be looking a lot better, right?
Yeah.
That is the first thing, is becoming aware of the problem.
Yep.
We're going, shit, I don't feel like I look like I need to look. I want to look better, right?
Yeah.
And knowing that is one thing, right? But then so you got awareness, but then you got to take the action and do something about it and go, okay, I'm going to go for a walk every day, or I'm going to go for a run, or I'm going to go just get started. Doesn't mean you got to go out, in my opinion, just move your body first, right?
You just get it going, 100%.
Then go and dial it in and go, okay, now I want to get serious, and now I actually want to lose 10 kilos, or I want to look like this, or I want a six pack, or, I don't want my flabby arms anymore, whatever that may be for whoever it is.
Yes.
But the first thing is just awareness, then action, and then detail the action as much as you need to, depending on what your goal is going to be. I think people overcomplicate things and think, oh man, because there's podcasts, social media, memes, this, that. You're just getting bombarded with information all day.
Yes.
And you've got 10 people saying 10 different things.
Totally.
So what's the easiest?
At a minimum.
Not do anything. Because
exactly.
there's so much noise.
Yeah. But and mate, that's like an anxiety picture at its finest. Like, I'm here, there's too many directions to go in, and so I can't make a decision. There's way too many paths. So I'm just going to stop and stay right here.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
It sucks. And that's
I don't want it bad enough though, right? Like,
yeah.
Either you get a scare, right? Either you get a health scare, or something happens when somebody needs to make a change. But again, we all think we're invincible, right? Like, I don't go and sit there and for a half an hour, right, and warm up before I go to the gym, right? People say you need to. Then they say you need to cool down for half an hour. Like, that's an hour and you haven't even done anything yet, right? And then you got to train for an hour, and then you got to shower, and then you got, like,
too much. Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot for people, so they don't even get started.
Exactly. And that's where I think it's important to, like, try and find your way with it, but also, like, if you don't know what to do, follow the advice of a professional, not by trying to find someone to, like, doom scroll, but just go, I'm going to help someone. You pay for help and people pay you for help. It's like paying for speed of learning is much quicker than scrolling Instagram and getting confused.
Yeah, I agree. But again, in the business and fitness is probably two industries that there's that much amount of noise.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone's an expert. Everyone's a business coach. Everyone's a life coach. Everyone's a fitness coach. Everyone's a personal trainer. Like,
totally.
Right. Because there's so much pain.
It's
because of the pain in those, right? Money, fitness. So much pain around those two topics in people's lives. And that's why they're big selling points.
For sure.
People want to get coached. Why? Because there's pain. I don't want to be poor. I want to be rich. I want to have time. I want to have freedom, right? Fitness, so much pain around it, right?
Yes.
They want to look good, and they've been bullied, and all these different types of things. And that's why those are two very popular industries where there's a shit ton of noise.
100%. Yeah.
I think that's half the battle.
Yeah, totally. And mate, with you've got people underneath you, right? Like, as in, you supervise people, you employ people, you've got people that look up to you in your family, like kids and things like that. How do you think it's important for, I'll say this first and then I'll ask the question. I have this thing I try and communicate with people, and I mentioned it before. When you walk into a room, whether it's boardroom, your warehouse, your child's bedroom, your own bedroom with your wife, your front door where the family's sitting for dinner, wherever it is that you walk into, how do you want to show up? That's what I say. How do you want to show up physically, mentally? Like, who do you want them to perceive you as? And so I want to understand for you how that, I guess my question is, what do you think about in times like now, and I hope this isn't too D&M, when you're not in where you want to be physically and mentally, what's going on in your head that you think, I could be doing better, right? Like, I could be doing better with looking after myself, with my nutrition, with my training, just those simple things. How do you think that translates to, because this is a big topic for a lot of people, to the people around you and your own understanding of, like, their perception? Does that question make sense?
Yeah.
Does it affect you?
For me, it definitely, like, I've always been a person that tries to look good, tries to dress good, right?
Yes.
proud in their own skin, right? But there's times where it's like, I know I need to be doing better. Like right now, I'm aware that I need to be doing better on the fitness front, right? And my missus and I have been talking about that and going, okay, what strategies do we need? Who do we need to talk to? What strategies do we need to be putting in play? But when I walk into a room, right, or my kids walk into a room, I want people to feel confidence, not arrogance, but confidence.
Awesome.
And I'm raising my kids with a lot of confidence. So they'll go and introduce themselves to whoever I'm talking to. Hi, I'm X. Hi, I'm X. And speak, right? Like with me, I don't care if you're the prime minister, if you're the president, or you're just some guy on the side of the street. Everyone has a story, right? And you got to treat people equally. But you got to come across as confident in yourself. Like if you're going there with your shoulders shrugged down and you're looking down and you're not confident and you're looking right, people are going to read you. They're going to read the room. They're not going to give you the time of day.
Yes.
Right? Whether that's because you're not confident in your mind, right, in your intellect, whether that's not confident because the way you look, or childhood traumas of bullying, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Confidence is number one. Now, to be confident, you need to know things and be confident in yourself. So, to me, I know lots of people that are very confident that look like slobs.
Yeah, interesting.
It's a mindset, right? I know a lot of people that aren't confident that look like Greek gods.
Yep.
And a lot of that, I think, is a front.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
In a lot of ways.
Yep.
And that's the psychology behind it, right?
Yes.
So for me, confidence is a massive, massive thing. You know, being able to be in an elevator and saying hi to someone and explaining who you are and what you're doing, or being at a pool and and bumping into someone like I did on the weekend, and I was sitting down with them, and very, very high level, prominent property developer in the country. We were hanging out for 2-3 days together. My family, his wife, my wife, hanging out, and we're in the conversation. Whereas a lot of people will sit there and be like, "How'd you do that? Like, how do you even?" There's levels to the game. It doesn't matter, as long as you're confident in yourself and what you're doing, right?
Yes.
Doesn't mean you have to look like a Greek god, but that would help. Right.
Yeah, it's like an added layer.
You look like a Greek god, no matter how much you train. The stigma around it is you're on the gear anyways, and you got to be okay with that. You got to be okay with that, right? Because people, even that are on the gear, like we talked about before, they still got to train.
That's right.
Yeah. Like I'd love to see a test of somebody taking testosterone and not going to the gym and what it does to the body, right? Like they still got to put in the work.
Yes, that's right. They're still going to be disciplined and consistent and eat well, for the most part.
I haven't met many people that aren't fit right? That aren't that confident. Like they all have the stigma around, I look good, I have my shirt off, I got my shorts hiked up so you can see my quads. Like the thing.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, when I looked in 2019, when I was at my peak at that time, man, I felt good. I looked good. I had my shirt off, right? Now, I take my shirt off, and at the moment, I'm not in my best peak shape. So I don't sit there and feel like a gun, I'm still confident. Don't get me wrong. But let me tell you, when things fit better, you feel better, you look better, it just does everything to your mind.
You carry yourself differently, right?
You do.
Yeah, again, for sure.
It takes action. It takes effort. It's consistency. It's discipline. It's waking up in the morning when you don't want to. It's going to the gym when you skip the morning at 8:00 at night when you don't want to, when you just want to sit down and watch a Netflix movie with your missus or your family. Those are the little 1% every day that add up. But again, it's easier said than done.
Yeah, totally agree.
I'm the first one to say that, it's easier said than done, but you got to pick your battles. You can't, there isn't this, you have to be at your peak your peak performance level, your peak body, your peak mind, peak business. None of it is in sync at all times.
Yes, I agree. And it's managing
funny. It's managing the expectations around
managing imbalance, right?
Correct. And being okay with imbalance.
Yes.
Right.
Totally.
That's the thing, because like, again, nothing is 100%.
Yeah, big time, mate. I completely agree. Yeah. It's like you can't just be straight 10 at everything all the time.
Yeah, like 5 years ago, I looked my best, right? But it was COVID, and businesses were wreaking havoc. Right now, I don't look. I might not look at my physical peak, but businesses are shaking and moving. Things are happening. We're selling businesses. We're starting businesses. There's, we're buying property. We're selling property. We're developing property. There's lots happening.
Yes.
So sometimes it doesn't coincide with success. But if you are, 80% of, success, 80% looking good, and to me, it's better than 100% here, and you look like absolute shit.
Yes.
Or you look amazing here, right? But you're losing a ton of money here and a ton of time, and your relationships are shit because you're spending 3 hours a day at your gym, right? You spend no time with your wife. Again, spend an hour at the gym, spend an hour with the kids, spend an hour with your wife. To me, that's a bit better. You might not have, the Greek god body, but you'll still look good, and you're fulfilling everyone's needs at the same time. Depends where you are in life too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Responsibilities you have. If you're single and it's just you and you got all the time in the world, go nuts.
And it's your personal values too. Like, what do I actually want with my time spent in my life? Yeah.
After this, I've got a shit ton of work to do. But at 4:45, I'm leaving to take my daughter to her soccer practice, and I'll be there for an hour and a half watching.
Yeah.
I could easily just drop her off, go in the car in my laptop and do work. Right. But my value is, no, I'm going to be there. I'll have my phone on me. If I got to take a couple calls, urgent calls, I will. But I'm there and I'm watching her, and I'm cheering her on, and I'm passing her the water. And
that's awesome.
Oh, wow. She's just made the academy team. Like that is powerful,
Totally. Yeah. I know you're big on that. Like being there, showing up.
Yeah, you don't even know the amount of messages that I get from people just going like, I respect you so much for just being that person. I want to be like that. It's inspiring for a lot of people. But
big time.
It's 80%. Like, work's never done. It's never done. You can work 24 hours, 7 days, 365, and you still won't get through everything.
100%.
That's the reality.
Yeah, big time.
What's your values? What's important? And balance as much as you can.
Totally. Mate, on that note, I'm going to wrap us up because I'm conscious of your time, respectful of your time. So really appreciate you coming on. Thanks for all the vulnerability, advice, and things like that. Any closing comments or questions?
No, man. I love it. I think what you're doing is amazing. Love your niche because business takes a big toll on the mind, takes a big toll on the body.
For sure.
Part in there is very, very important. So
100%. And mate, if someone's listened to this and has read the hat and they think, what is that? They'll get in contact.
Yeah. So you can follow me on Instagram. It's ITS Eric Machado, ERICMACHADO. That's my Instagram handle. We also have Unemployable Media. That's our Instagram handle. And you can find Unemployable on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. We have a panel of 4. We do 2 podcasts a week. One is an interview style podcast with people telling their stories and experts. And then on Fridays, we do a Friday catch up with the boys. There's 4 of us that talk about the week in business, what's happening in current events around the world, and just helping people become more and more unemployable, through business, through property, through investing. So that's where you can find a little bit about me. And my Instagram handle, like I said, it's Eric Machado. You'll see a bit of business stuff on there. You'll see a bit of my, personal stuff, what's happening in my life, family stuff. And it's, good to connect. But appreciate what you're doing, John.
Very good. Thanks for your time again.
No
Speak
worries.
to you soon.
Take care, buddy. See ya. Bye.